Flick Chick, and I'm here to talk about Inside Out. I went to see it with my mom, which was kind of fun, but also kind of awkward because, you know, it's like, we're just, you know, like, me, a 20-something-year-old woman, and, you know, my mom, who's in her, like, 50s, you know, going into a theater that's mostly filled with children, and, you know, I sat next to a kid, and it was just kind of like, But it was still kind of fun, and I really liked the film. I mean, it was a really good film. And I've been having doubts about Pixar lately. I mean, I grew up with Pixar movies as a kid, you know, like Finding Nemo, Toy Story, you know, WALL-E, and, Monsters, Inc. I mean, that Monsters, Inc. it was like, has to be like my favorite film of all time. I mean, I saw that twice in the theater and I loved it, which made Monsters University all the more disappointing because it was not a bad film, but it was nothing like the, you know, movie I loved growing up as a kid. And lately, Pixar's been mostly relying on sequels, and you know, and Brave got kind of mixed reviews, at least, of course I haven't seen Brave yet, which I'm certainly planning to at some point, but, like, I mean, and so I was like, Pixar used to be so good, what happened to them? And then Inside Out comes along, and then I see Inside Out, and I'm just like, wow, this is really good. Pixar still has it in them to make really good movies. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, the best way to understand the, like, how awesome Inside Out is that it's in the same way that Monsters, Inc. took the simple premise of monsters in the closet and made it into this entire world and industry. The Inside Out took the simple premise of, like, well, what goes on inside your mind, and, like, turned it into this, again, this entire world that goes on, you know, with you know, personified versions of, like, emotions, imaginary friends, and even, like, you know, even brain cells, at least I think that's what those little weird things were called, but in any case, and it's just like, and it just, like, it made everything that goes on in your head, which you really can't describe in words, concrete and real, but it was still, like, colorful and fun for children to enjoy, but it was, you know, very, you know, deep, and it was still, like, thoughtful, but it had enough in it for adults to enjoy, mainly in terms of, like, how the mind works, and, like, some pop culture references here and there, like the Cloud Town thing, and then the obvious, like, Edward Cullen thing that showed up in there. And it really, and then of course there's, you know, the character Riley. She's both a representation of what any of a typical 11-year-old, and what, you know, but she's still her own person, you know, she's not like she's just a blank slate for us to, you know, put ourselves into. I mean, she's also her own person, you know, she likes hockey, she has her, you know, her own thoughts. I mean, sure, they're mostly controlled by the emotions, but nevertheless, you know, she's still her own person, and you know, it really, you know, it certainly could relate to both children and adults, because children either are going through what Riley's going through, or maybe you'll give the younger kids a sense of what they're about to go through, but it also gives, you know, makes adults go back to when they were 11, and what they were going through. And it, you know, for the most part, it accurately depicts, you know, some of the things that we go through at that point in life. Granted, not as dramatic, of course, but... And also the voices were really good. I mean, granted, I only knew, like, 2 of the voices. Like, I knew, you know, Lewis Black, who did the voice for Anger. I mean, I've seen, like, Jon Stewart episodes, and he was perfect for Anger. I mean, he just said the best lines in that movie, in my opinion. And then the running joke with the with the bubble gum commercials. It was just so hilarious. And then there's Amy Poehler, who did the voice for Joy, and while I haven't seen Parks and Recreation, I think she fit the voice pretty well, and seeing pictures of her, she definitely does seem like a very cheerful person. I gotta say that, you know, even though the, you know, emotions were pretty, like, fairly one-dimensional in terms of their personality, because, well, they're the embodiments of our emotions, but they also had, you know, character. I mean, you know, Joy, for all her, you know, optimistic cheerfulness, sure was kind of a jerk. I mean, she was being hard on Sadness, and she kind of, like, bossed everybody around, all the other emotions around, because, you know, she thinks it's either Riley's happy or we're all fucked kind of thing. And then there's, you know, of course, you know, the message at the end of the movie, which I thought was good, which, you know, it was basically saying it's okay to be sad. I mean, yes, you know, it's, you know, better to be happy than sad or angry or scared, but, you know, it's also okay to be sad, because, you know, without sadness, we don't, well, I guess, you know, it's like without sadness, we don't appreciate what we have, and it also allows us to reach out to those we love when we're in trouble, basically. And I think, I don't know, and oh my god, the islands and the various places that Joy and Sadness went to, they were just so, like, you know, they were very colorful and creative, and oh my god, I could go on about how awesome this movie was. And I really, like, I mean, it's too early to say whether this means that Pixar's back on their feet or anything like that. I mean, I just think this was a really good movie, and maybe it could be the start of a new trend of good Pixar movies. I mean, but again, that's hard to say. I mean, there is, of course, you know, The Good Dinosaur, which is coming out, which was supposed to come out this year, but now it's coming out next year, and from the trailer I've seen, it doesn't look that bad, kind of like The Land Before Time, except in 3D animation, but of course I know that there's going to be a Finding Nemo sequel coming out, and a sequel of The Incredibles, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know about the Finding Nemo sequel. I mean, it's supposedly about Dory, but it's like, Dory's kind of, yeah, I could see her going missing, but it's just like, why, like, I don't know. And then The Incredibles, I'm just kind of like, how are they going to, like, are they going to start from where it left off with the parody cliffhanger at the end of the first movie, or are they going to, like, skip a few years and introduce some new heroes that have come since the ban has been lifted, or what? But in any case, I give Inside Out my full approval, and, you know, it was a really good film. It was relatable, it was colorful, it was creative, and it just reminds me of why I love Pixar so much. Well, I am Flick Chick, and I'll see you next time.